Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to our open lecture series. And this time we have a distinguished guest. It's Reinhold Karner. He's I would say, one of the most famous persons who also was there at the very beginning of our degree program when we once started 13 years ago. I had several interviews with Reinhold together in order to discuss what kind of sense would it make to integrate management science together with communication and IT and bring that together in a nutshell. 13 years have gone, and meanwhile Reinhold has made a lot of different steps in his career. I think we have a lot to learn from him, and we're looking forward also to having here today you with our students in a very intensive discussion. And perhaps you would be so kind to describe your view of the last 13 years and your steps which you made. And perhaps you could then also discuss a little bit about your outlook to the future of digital business.
All right. Thanks. Great to be here. I would like to separate the answers in two different parts. The first of all, regarding all the education, so to say, you have done very, very well as far as I can see. And I think nearly everybody in the business world understands in the meantime how important ICT studies are. They are so important because the whole ICT technology is taking over our whole life, including our personal life with the smartphones and so on. So it's great that you did the step. I know it was not easy. Great compliments. Would love to support you also for the future. I'm sure you're doing well. And I'm always again and again impressed when I can see a little bit of your structure and knowledge and outcomes. The other thing is regarding myself. I had a funny career, one which was not planned, but that's life. You plan something, then it develops in a different way. I set up a company. First of all, I started already with 13, to be honest, also working a bit because I was always so keen to learn about companies. With 16, I wrote my first small business package, a software. Also, I learned everything myself. That was at that time an Olivetti computer, however. And I understood at that time, when I was 16, that IT will be something very important for the whole business life because it helps to automate, to get data. It was so easy, so professional. I enjoyed it so much. And so I had all my school, however. Then I started my career in some companies, industry, services, distribution, and so on. Became a manager. I also started in the evening during the day during this time where I was working. And then when I was 27, I set up my first company, a software and an IT company and a consulting company. It was called KTW. And it was quite successful. We sold, I would say, in this region, in the western part of Austria, also in South Tyrol and so on, we were the very first one selling ERP systems ourselves here. A very good software was Siba. It was very successful, so we have been very soon number one in this region, so to say. And we have got all the best clients. So there's a very famous clients here, also some international clients. Was really exciting. And in the end of the 90s, I was thinking there must be something else regarding software, object-oriented and so on and so on. And then I started my own development of the first, in Europe, the very first Java software. At that time everyone was calling me crazy, what is Java and so on. But I had the luck at 1997, 1998 to meet the CEO of IBM. It was Lou Gerstner. IBM was really on the brink to bankruptcy. They hired him to make the turnaround and so on, and he asked one day in US, what's wrong in that company? And I told him, sorry, you have the worst software, you have no operating system, you are old-fashioned, you can't survive, and we can't survive being your distribution partner as well. And so he introduced me to his software boss, so to say, the manager, and without any NDA, they told me, listen what we plan to do. And this was exactly the time where they were preparing to sign the contract with Sun for Java and put $1 billion into it. And he asked me, would you love to join us, to help us? I said, yes, great. And that was my start, saying, okay, now I develop my own ERP system, object-oriented. At that time, there was no hotspot, nothing. The performance was, so to say, shit. It was slow motion, everything was working. And on the other hand, since few years, the internet came up, with Netscape and not really the Internet Explorer. And I was thinking, you know what, this will change again the world. Because if you have a client, a desktop client, just using a browser, and you have somewhere else your software, that could change the whole rules in the IT. To be honest, it was, so to say, already the cloud. Also,
you were anticipating that trend.
Yes,
right?
And so we developed an object-oriented software with the first browser, native. It was 50 million lines of Java code. If you compare, Windows 7 has 70 millions of lines of Java code, not very well designed in object-oriented. So it was quite well something. And we had to solve a lot of problems. And so we invented completely new technologies where there was no expression for. For example, today, in-memory computing. We have been the first one doing this because Java was so complex, the processes were so slow. So we had to find a solution because object-oriented databases didn't work. So we had still used Oracle, SQL Server, and so on. And we learned the only chance is sucking in all the data from the database, keep it in the memory, and run it fast. And when we did it, we were surprised because sometimes we couldn't believe how fast this was, And so it was going on. And really, we did, I would say, 10 to 12 inventions. They, in the meantime, are standard, including for the browser to have your drag and drop boxes. We designed a technique which is now known as the Ajax, you may know. That was our invention as well. The first step, and IBM brought it to the market. However, so the development costed a bump of money. My consulting company earned a lot. Was always one of the best in Austria. We had an earning rate of 35–37% from the turnover, which was not so bad. But still, the development of new software cost a lot. So I asked a client to join me as an investor. So we had separated the development company and the consulting company, and we did very well, I guess. Of course, we still had to invest a lot of money, but it was really a front runner already on the market. Even Karner wrote, there are small young guys, they're taking inroads against maybe SAP in the future, and so on. And then there was the idea to go to the stock exchange, because I negotiated already with 7 different competitors on the market to buy them, take them over, and take their customers over. And so we could grow much faster and a better market share. But at the end, it went up very, very funny when we learned how much the company was worth. And however, a nasty game started inside, to be honest. It was really a bad game. And the end of the story was everything went bust. So I lost everything, nearly $100 million of myself. And had at least the luck to sell the software to someone else. It's now still in the market, quite successful. Still is the ERP system of the year, again and again and again. And so I lost everything, and I had also to file for my bankruptcy, for the bankruptcy myself, which I never expected, of course, and of course never planned. And this was quite an experience. I would not wish someone would experience the same, but it was quite shocking. If you lose everything, so to say, you have kids, they are studying, one in Shanghai, one in Scotland. You should be able to finance, but you are not able to finance anymore. You have to file for bankruptcy. That means then you have to live on 700 euros or 500 British pounds, because then I moved also to London. It was really something else for quite a time. And thanks God, I was able, first of all, to take me in shape, because I was really overweighted, 50 kilos. And I used this time also to lose my weight, to get more fit. And I changed from that moment on, not being anymore a workaholic. And now I'm an advisor and doing also very, very well, because the reset was really excellent. And in the meantime, I'm working worldwide for clients, set up also my own companies, have a business network, which is quite huge already worldwide. Yeah, it's fun, and now I'm here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think for our students, it's so interesting also to have the discussion about failure, how to manage failure. Typically, all the business books, all the use cases are talking about people who made a fortune, who were very lucky with their business ideas, who had that kind of idea. And what I see also from our discussion and from our common history, that you you have foreseen a lot of trends. And I still remember, it must be 11 or 12 years ago when you introduced that idea to have only a client-based software that runs more or less over the cloud. That was not the name at that time. And everybody thought, nobody will do that ever. So you invented things long before they came into the market. Today we're running studies like how much adoption rate will cloud have in the market 12 years later. So very visionary, very successful also in running the business, but some small things happened and that made it possible that you were not able to run through. So what is the lecture? What is the learning also in terms of students? Perhaps it might be very dangerous too, just to think that everything might be brilliant just if you start a company. But on the other hand, telling them it can be the worst decision of your life is also not something which is really worthwhile. So it must be something in between, a reflection of there is a risk, but there's also a lot of things to gain. What would you say to young people who are starting up?
First of all, don't be shy. Of course, if you are becoming an entrepreneur, there is a risk. Of course, everybody knows. And I think many companies fail. If you know that the average age in European Union of companies is 12 years, so you know that more or less 10%, nearly, or 8% every year, stop working, whatever the reason is. What is to learn? I was very enthusiastic always. I smelled the future, I still do. So far, thanks God, I was quite right. But maybe it's not the best to put everything what you have, everything.
Including health?
Including health, family, enjoying, but everything on just one project, on one thing. As you never know how it will develop. Even you are sure and everything is, I think our case was really brilliant. And it's proved that it is still successful. But maybe we have been too successful. So then comes in confusion, greed, whatsoever. So you don't know it. And you need a net for at least then when you have a family for them. Because maybe if you are alone, to say, okay, then I have a huge setback and I have to do my bankruptcy and start again. But that's not, it's not wise maybe. But still, take the chances, grasp the chances, go ahead, whatever you feel, do it. Don't listen too much to anyone else, because I'm sure everyone from us is a special individual person. And I don't know what your destiny is, you don't know what mine is, maybe even I don't know what my destiny is. So I don't like it so much, giving people so much advice, and you have to listen to this, because there is no classical golden rule which will work for everyone. So just enjoy life, and even if it happens that you fail, so to say, what reason ever it is, get up, try it again, make it again. Look always on the bright side. For example, for my life, I definitely can say I learned so much more from the failures all the time, even the small ones. So much more. From success, you can't really anything, because it went well, but do you really understand why? Not really.
Not time to reflect?
No. Look on the bright side, what you learn from the failures, from the mistakes, from all this experience, and be thankful that you get maybe a lesson you even can't get here in a school or in a university or so on. That's the school of life. Be open always. And even, as in my case, quite a few people gave me a big disappointment, to be honest, because I trusted them and I was sure they will back me always. And that was my reason. I was just focused on the business primarily and not watching out what was going around behind me and, sadly enough, also behind my back. But also there are one or two handfuls of people, they really disappointed me very much. They're just one or two handfuls of these nearly 8 billion people we are on Earth. So why can you statistically say because 5 or maybe up to 10 or 12 disappointed you, within 12 you always find the Judas, as we know. Why is the whole human race bad? It isn't. So look on the bright side. Who is the next maybe partner? Where's the next chance? Where's the challenge? And that's the most important thing. Get up if you fail and learn from it. And don't copy other things, because a copy will never be as good as an original. And you are the original, they are the original, whoever is here is original. And they have it makes sense that they are here. We all have not a job, but we have a kind of destiny.
Absolutely.
And just go for it, run for it. Don't be shy. Go fast, try. Of course, then you will fail. But the most important thing is put not everything just on one card. Maybe that's if I could restart again, this I wouldn't do again, because I signed also a pledge for my bank. Also, we had 67% nearly equity, which is not bad.
Oh.
So if you take all these puzzle pieces or this jigsaw, then you will say, why could it happen? And I said, signed a pledge, a guarantee on a bank, and that just killed me. And you should not sign it, also unlimited, because if you have a company earning a hell of a lot of money, we made quite some millions every year, but if you fail and you can't pay back a few millions, you have no income anymore, so that's huge. That's like a mountain, higher than the Mount Everest at that moment. And if you signed it, also it's not very fair from the banks, if you reflect it, to ask someone for an unlimited pledge, because then they can really nearly blackmail you, put you against the wall, and you would have to accept everything. And I said, no, that's it. If I don't, and then they were not sure whether I will file for bankruptcy. Don't worry, I will do it, forget it, that's it. Not with me. I take my pride and I still keep it, whatever it comes. Because I'm not a criminal, no one is a criminal around me. We did very well. It's a business risk. If we have huge success, everybody comes and say, wow, well done, great done, and so on. They did, unless this failure then came up with the insolvency. So I also learned there's a difference between really good friends. By the way, they are always there, even if you have a failure. And all the others, either they then say, we knew it since years. Or they are already another group, they can, we will help and support you, but wait some weeks and then they are away. That means the Earl or the Count was driving on the ship to Paris or something else, you never see them again. And that's the thing you can learn. Wow. There are many things more.
Okay, but I think this is a strong lecture. Fail often, fail early. And perhaps do not put everything on just one project on one card. No. And be motivated to try it again. And that's what you live as you do it, right? Yeah. And my last question would just address the future. You were always one of the, I would say, people who were able to foresee what's coming up. And as far as I know, you had wonderful talks and networks also in Silicon Valley with experts, trends experts, and you have your own opinion. And as you foreseen 12 years ago, like trends like cloud and memory computing, etc., what would you today say? What is coming up? So
I have my opinion, and I'm also a fellow of quite a few think tanks as well. So also think tanks, university think tanks, or also from some global leaders, and also in America and Asia and so on. However, digital business is now here. It will go very fast. It will change everything, how we do business, how we manage companies, and so on. So people have to know that, because now the whole world is a global market wherever you are, either here in Tyrol or in Alaska, or it doesn't matter. You could be part of it. And you have to understand that we change now to the digital first human, because so many people are just working with their, much more talking, so to say, with their screen than to their spouse or to their boss, so that is a priority as well. We are also changing to an economy, to a sharing economy, because young people, we know in the meantime, the youngsters up to 25, they don't want to have a car or to own something, but don't take the screen away. So if they need a car, they just hire one or take a ride with someone else. And so what they are doing, and many others more, they have their smartphones, they have the web. If they want to order something, they just use this digital moment, and you have a few seconds, either you have an excellent offer for them, then they stay, maybe they buy, or they go to the next one. So easy, and that's changing. And I'm sure there will come many disruptors, so to say. And if you are not careful enough, and you are not also taking advantage now from the digital business, you will die. I'm sure. Also, you have maybe excellent margins at the moment, and digital business is never a good margin, but maybe the volume could bring you an extremely success. So that's the first thing. Business models will change then, of course, like the Saxo Bank did in Scandinavia. They were clever enough to see that their experts, internal house experts, they're giving advice for investments where they were good, but few customers outperformed them. So they learned why it is possible, and they turned the system back. So they use these excellent clients now as a crowdsourcing for their experts. And so they changed it from inside out. So that will also change models how you value, for example, a bank, because a bank doesn't matter how many good experts they have. It's much more important how many excellent customers do they have in the network, for example. And what will also change the next 5-7 years is this so-called smart machines. To be honest, this is a new super class of machines. And they will change everything, including few of your science works. And if you oversee this, you will definitely die in the market. It's exciting. And if you compare, like now for the CeBIT 2015, Microsoft announced this week, their message is the digital miracle. They call it in English. The Wirtschaftswunder was called from Germany. They're reflecting to the 50s, where after the World War II they set up, and saying what a chance we have if we can make the fourth industrial revolution. We grasp this chance, we can turn up everything to the much better thing, including education whatsoever. And that's, to be honest, in the short time, the major message for me, what is changing in the world.
Absolutely. Now, perhaps an interesting point is that whenever we were talking about Industry 4.0, or giving talks and integrating businesses, a lot of businesses, that happens to me, still do not believe that they
don't understand what it is.
Yeah. And what is your experience with your kind of people you are advising? What is their feedback?
It's similar, but it will come. Definitely. Industry 4.0, of course, will come. And I'm sure, especially as now the Germans took it over, they just do it.
They do it, absolutely.
Like a bulldozer. Thanks God. Because we need a balance between the States and Asia and Europe, and they will do it. And it's a fantastic concept. There are so many chances, it will come. But of course, if people say, no, take a bit of a smile, give them time, they will learn, and they will learn fast. Hopefully they are not too late.
Now we are planning to build up a small lab just to make it visible for people.
Great.
Just to keep their hands on devices, because all these concepts are quite abstract, right?
For example, the 3D printing.
Printers,
2014 became a billion market, but people don't realize it. That's a fact.
Yeah,
and the same will happen with the smart factory, which is the core of the concept of the Industry 4.0. Of course it will come as the digital business and then as the smart machines. So it's just exciting, but be careful. Many people don't understand that, for example, digital business, including Industry 4, is a business concept. We are not talking about software developers. We need them as well. But it's always the same. Technology jobs, including ICT, always create also 5 to 7 new other jobs in different varieties in other sectors. So we still need the data analysts with economists, the engineers and so on, not only the software guys.
Plus the people who are integrating the 3 disciplines, and that brings us back together to our starting point, so that our students absolutely do learn to integrate new business models, the communication to their clients, also to the users at the end of the day. Usability plays a huge role. Also with the terms of wearables in industrial productions, etc., plus the IT solutions. And I hope that you will still be kind of a mastermind for us, an expert which we could have here together with our students and to discuss also future trends and also your learnings and your expertise.
I would love to do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.